Okay, so for my summative theory assessment, I got a football player named Todd, who is a running back. So a football player, a running back is a multi-sprint nature position. They heavily rely on power and agility. Power meaning acceleration and jumping ability, and just movement efficiency. Um, so these players, they must be able to respond instantly to unideal positioning. They must keep momentum moving forward, even through attempted tackles or groups of defenders, to gain as many yards as possible. Sometimes this is only one or two. Um, this is key in the upcoming program design, so we'll bring it back up. But just know that the running back position, since plays are so short and rarely is there enough room, they never actually reach full speed. And all of their movements, well, most of their movements are contralateral in nature, with the jumping and twisting and rotational movement due to the sprinting. So the movement analysis. So just a quick overview. They focus on explosive movements such as sprinting, like I said before, jumping, all the musculature involved in both the eccentric and concentric phases. There's also the resistance of heavy forces, so a little bit of an isometric principle. And there is a power reliance required to quickly jerk free if someone's, let's say, trying to grab onto your legs with a tackle. But mostly it's total body movement, especially with a focus on the knees, hips, elbows, shoulders, all the sprinting mechanics. Some active movements you might see, hurdles, obviously sprinting, tackling, twisting and turning, catching the ball, throwing the ball, and walking or jogging. So football has an extremely heavy emphasis on the ATP PC system. For a running back, plays typically last 12 to 13 seconds, and your muscles will use the glycolytic system for 1 to 10 seconds, so you can see the demand on the ATP PC system. The short sprints required of a running back will use all the ATP and CP in the fast glycolytic and fast oxidative glycolytic muscle fibers. So I have that set at 90% dependence. Another 9% comes from anaerobic glycolysis. If the duration of the play is longer than 20 or 30 seconds, the body will really emphasize the fast oxidative glycolytic fibers that use ATP, CP again, and as well as muscle glycogen and lactic acid as energy supplies. So that was 9%. And aerobic glycolysis, I only have this at 1% because its dependence is minimal. There are 4 15-minute long quarters with a 20-minute halftime. So between the rests, the client may pace to maintain body temperature, and this would involve the slow twitch oxidative muscles and everything to do with the aerobic glycolysis system. For the injury analysis, this is basically common sense. Due to it being a contact sport, there's risk for fractures, dislocations, broken bones, muscular tearing, ligamentous strains, cuts, bruises, concussions, and all that. Long term, there are quite a few overuse injuries. Most of them are tendinitises in the lower body, and metatarsal stress fractures were prominent in running backs. So now we'll go over some strengths and weaknesses of the client. Here you can see that he excelled in the broad jump, bench press, one rep max squat, and the 1 rep max bench press. So here you can clearly see that he is quite strong. He is like a very strong person. The exercises where he struggles are exercises that are highly dependent on contractility and overall agility. So you can see that his 40-yard dash, pro agility, shuffle, vertical jump, etc., etc. All of those, he very much struggles, and he's falling behind the pack. So this client is quite strong in his upper and lower body, but he needs to gain the neuromuscular adaptation of power to help him exceed on other fronts. This is a strength of his that it's a fairly quickly gained adaptation, and he will see his performance go from night to day, and he should excel quite well. He is a clean slate. He's young. He's doesn't have all these other training ideologies to contend with, so it should be pretty easy to work with him. The only problem was his school schedule. So yeah, upper excellent body strength. So he should be able to easily transition over into the power aspect of the training to come. Weaknesses, like I said before, neuromuscular contractility, acceleration, direction change, they're all suffering. So basically anything to do with neuromuscular contractility. And according to an article by Robbins, 2011, Todd is almost 20 pounds less than a normal running back, even with his. The thing is that he is 20 pounds less. He has a higher body fat percentage, so he is in worse shape than a client who would have 20 pounds of added muscle to contend with and bring to the football competition where they get drafted. So he's struggling with power, his overall size, multi-directional speed, agility, and the Wingate test really shows that he struggles with lactate tolerance. So due to the demand of the sport and the client's strengths and weaknesses, the training priorities would be maximum effort power to increase acceleration and neuromuscular contractility so he can explode off the line and break tackles and accelerate more quickly. Then he must learn multi-directional speed so he becomes a lot more efficient with his movement, and he uses the new power that he generated, the neuromuscular adaptation, and he can use that to change direction quickly without altering his body mechanics negatively. The final aspect is lactate training to ensure the client recovers quickly and can maintain very high intensity efforts throughout the entire game. So this I have in mind that since he is now able to explode powerfully and accelerate quickly, he must then be able to maintain that ability throughout the entire game, which would be quite difficult where he's at now with lactate efficiency as a weakness. This will increase the overall volume of power output. So the program design, I've separated into the 3 training priorities. So there's maximum effort power, there's lactate efficiency, and there's multi-directional speed. As you can see, multi-effort power is the blue. This progresses gradually. It progresses more rapidly in the first 5 weeks and then levels out and progresses more slowly. This is due to the fact that he has very high levels of strength, and I don't want to lose those adaptations by progressing too slowly. So to train power, the first few weeks progress more quickly, and then it more gradually progresses all the way to draft day, so he peaks at maximum power effort right before the draft. Unlike the gradual increase there, lactate efficiency is done at a much higher 1 rep max. It builds up to about 180% 1 rep max and then drops, and it's in 2 waves that peak. In contrast with multi-directional speed. This is so as the lactate efficiency starts going up and it might become more of a tax on the body, it's dropped to prevent overtraining as the multi-directional speed increases as well. So I've tried to have those waves contrast each other just to prevent overtraining and keep adding progressive overload. So the lactate efficiency, this was designed for his schedule. This is to be done at any point in the day after the maximum effort power. Maximum effort power would be better to do in the mornings. So 2 days a week, he could do the maximum effort power, and then do whatever else he needs to do in the day and squeeze in lactate efficiency, which is quite a short workout, and that's why I chose the sprint intensity training. This is just to make his program more plastic and more amenable to his schooling and his job. So this one, it peaks slightly before the draft, about 3 weeks, and then slowly goes down to still a higher level than where he began. So he should be well rested and be able to utilize his new lactic efficiency adaptations. For multi-directional speed, this as intensity increases, like I said, the lactate efficiency intensity will drop, the sprint intensity will drop, and these are more random. These are drills, and they will keep changing every week and get progressively more difficult. And that's how I rate intensity on the difficulty and amount of times he's doing it, and just the overall taxing on the body. So that's more of a proprioceptive challenge, and so it'll increase intensity, drop to give the body a bit of a rest as sprint intensity increases, and then it will curve back up and peak with the maximal proprioceptive efficiency and agility right before the draft. So he should be good to go, and excel in the draft. So for the justification, there's no hindrances between all of the phases I've chosen. There is adequate rest for the CNS between the maximum effort power sessions, and the sit training, it will tax the body, but it will be more of an emphasis on metabolic demands than neuromuscular. So the client should be easily recovered after between every maximum effort power exercise, even after the lactate efficiency training or the sprint intensity training. And finally, the drills, they never get to maximal intensity. They're more about teaching him proper biomechanics and proprioceptive challenges to build agility and help him wield his new power and lactate efficiency adaptations. Even if he is sore from lactate efficiency training or sit training, minor warm-ups should help him going, and since it isn't maximal intensity, he should be quite safe doing these. So yeah, these are far less taxing and hard on the CNS system. It will mostly just be developing movement efficiency. So the video is going to jump right to my client progressions. I chose the second string. It starts with box jumps, escalates, and then it keeps progressing to unilateral explosive movements. I have a list of these ones here of 4 progressions that could be used. I went over them with a model who was kind enough to help me. He struggled with these quite advanced movements. He's not athletic, but he did the best he could. So please forgive any poor performance in the future video. I queued up and told him how to do it, and then there was less emphasis on the actual practice of the exercise, as I knew he wasn't in a place where he could do them. So he was mostly focusing on safety. Okay, so for my exercise selection, I have chosen phase 2 of the power exercises. So the first progression will always, or the first phase will always be clean and jerk, building them up to like maximal power output, which is I think 70%, I think. And then phase 2, it's mostly unilateral movements, at least it progresses to them. So we'll start with that. The first progression, well, I hope you're going to be able to do them all, but the first progression is just a simple box jump. So feet shoulder width, spread, and you'll jump and land softly. So first phase, you'll try and do that. So let's try. Shoulder width apart, squat down. Let's try it again, but try not to lean forward as much. So you'll squat here, and then keep your chest back. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. And this one we progress for speed, so it'd be up, down, up, down, up, down, up, okay? Then there is the box jump rotation, just to get some twisting movement at an added proprioceptive challenge. So same movement, you step away a little bit so you don't hit your hands, you'll go down, and then you'll just jump and land as softly as you can. Try to hold it for a second or two at the top. That was a bit heavy. Let's try it again. Land as soft as you can. Okay, better. So for the third progression, it's going to be a single leg TRX box jump. So you'll put your foot in the TRX. Make sure it's in there. Okay. Your dominant leg, or whichever. Your ankle leg is going to be at 90, and then you're going to take your left leg, drive up, and land on top of the box. So most of the power will come from your left hip flexion. Right? So you'll go up. So up. And then you'll just try to balance. So your front leg will be to 90, your back leg, you'll come up and you'll kick, right? Like that. See where the momentum comes from? Go up, kick. And you're gonna jump up, land on the box. So I don't want you to load this leg. I don't want you to jump like this and then kick. I want you to just go from straight here, straight to boom. Okay, so focus on swinging this leg.
Yeah, but I can't swing until I'm up.
Well, to take the weight off it, don't be like putting too much pressure. Okay. No? So really focus on kicking that leg up for a moment.
Yeah, but I can't do that until I start going up.
Well, for video purposes, just try to do your best.
Okay.
It's a pretty advanced one. So really kick this leg up.
Whoa.
You okay?
That's terrible shit.
Okay, so you get your foot out of it. Okay. So the next one we're going to do is a lunge box jump. I initially had this before the TRX one, but I thought you can actually like put resistance on this leg, so it makes it a bit easier. So you're going to start normal lunge position, right? And all at once, you're going to jump up both feet landing at the same time. Okay? So, land softly. This is the hard one. It's seemingly hard, so do the best you can. Try to get your body into synchronization. The unilateral movements are better for injury prevention. So, yeah. So you can preload. I don't want you bouncing because that's natural movement. You can bounce, and I want you landing in one position. Ready to go.
quite difficult.